Dear students and friends, welcome all of you back to this session on physics. The topic that we are currently dealing in this session is Gauss law, which is a part of electrostatics. And there is another lecture, the first one on Gauss law, which I already dealt with, and we were talking about the basic equation of Gauss law, which says that integral closed integral E dot ds equals to q in upon epsilon naught. And I left that topic with a question: why don't we consider the flux of the charges which are outside? So I taught you the concept of the closed surface, totally closed from all sides, inside charges, outside charges, and the fact that the flux through this is only dependent on inside charges and not on outside charges. But I took the electric field because of all the charges, so that confuses. You are taking electric field because of all the charges, but the flux is only affected by the inside charges. So to deal with this topic once again, which is Gauss law's explanation, why do we get so? Before that, we are discussing a topic called solid angle, because this is going to be useful in dealing with this issue of flux. So I'll tell you that like an angle is a two-dimensional property. आप लोग समझते हैं, you understand that this is an arc, so this is some angle, maybe 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 45, whatever it is, but this is an angle. And you understand that an angle is a two-dimensional thing. It's a two-dimensional thing. If I look at these 2 points and then I know that they are subtending an angle of, let us say, 30 degrees on my eyes, it's like this. Now something different from an angle is what we call as a solid angle. And to just understand this solid angle, focus on a cone, an ice cream cone that you eat. Now there is, let us say, this ice cream cone. So this complete angle of an ice cream cone, let us say there are 2 cones. Now which one makes a bigger angle here, this or this? So if I ask you the bigger angle, you will say this makes a bigger angle. But just look carefully, is it actually an angle? Is it actually an angle here? No. This is something like this. So this is called a solid angle. So I can say a 3D angle in a rough language is called a solid angle. To define it more technically, for angle we say that like an arc subtends an angle. Can I say like this? An arc subtends an angle theta. This is an arc. So while an arc subtends an angle, a surface, this is a surface, this is a surface. So a surface subtends a solid angle at a point. I am repeating, arc subtends an angle, but a surface subtends a solid angle at some given point. So here we are interested in solid angle, not the angle. So how do we understand this solid angle technically or mathematically? So for example, you know that angle is equal to arc length upon radius. Angle is equal to arc length upon radius. Now if we talk of a solid angle, then solid angle is basically defined as area upon radius square. In a rough means like not very precise language, it's area upon radius square. You can compare, angle is arc length upon radius, area upon radius square, and hence you can say, because area is also length square, this is length square, so this is a dimensionless quantity. This is a dimensionless quantity. Dimensionless quantity is what? Dimensionless quantity is that in which is like not length, not mass, not time. So is it unitless? No, there is a unit. So it has a unit called steradian. So this is also one of the questions in physics, which quantities are dimensionless but have units. So 2 quantities, remember, these small things are useful. They are angle and solid angle. They do not have any dimensions, but they have angles as radians and steradian, which we write as SR. Now I would like to explain you how we find out this solid angle due to this area. So let us say this is some area and I want to find out the solid angle subtended by this area. Let us say this area is very small area. ds means infinitesimally small, इतना छोटा कि almost nothing. So very small area subtending a solid angle at this point, let us say P. So this angle, normally we write it as like this, d omega, one symbol. This is omega, a symbol in Greek. So d omega means a small angle. So how would we define this small solid angle? We will say that it is area upon r square. Now r, which is this r? Is this or this? No. So we will take the middle of this and draw this line over here. And this is called an r. So this is upon r square. So you will wonder what this r is. It is the distance between the midpoint of this to this point. And remember, if it is small area, then this length, they are approximately the same, isn't it? It's a very small area, so this length. So if you have a very thin cone, then this length is equal to this length is equal to this length. If this is a very thin cone. So this defines the solid angle for you, the small area. Of course, if the area is big, then also we have, if this is a big area, like some big area, then this omega you can write as s upon r square, where r is this distance. Now this is not equal to this, but you can define it. But particularly for Gauss law, we will be focusing on small areas. Now, I hope you have understood this basic point of solid angle. Now, just to confuse you a little bit, confuse you means to clear you with the concept. Unless you are confused, you won't be clear also. So let us take another area like this. Okay. And I want to find solid angle here. Solid angle here at this point. Now it becomes a little confusing. Because now there is a difference, because this point in this figure you can say is symmetrical, but this is a strange cone. Now how to find the solid angle subtended by this surface here? Let us say this is again ds and this is this. So to do this, what we have to do is we have to draw another area like this. And let us say this area and this area, they are making an angle theta. I think you understand it. Like this surface and this surface. So this surface, if you look carefully, is the proper cone. Like between this surface and these two sides there is a proper cone, but this surface was not making a proper cone here. So first we make a proper cone. Now suppose to make a proper cone, this angle is theta. So this area in physics we call as the component of this area in this direction. The component of this area in this direction. आपको already पता है कि this component we can write as ds cos theta. So now I can write d omega as ds cos theta upon r square. Now basically this r is nothing but this distance, that is from the middle of this to this. So if you have an irregularly oriented area and you want to find solid angle, first find the component of this area so that you make a symmetrical cone, and then you find the solid angle as ds cos theta. Of course, this theta is the angle between this area and this area which is perpendicular to this radius. Perpendicular to the radius. So this gives me the solid angle at this particular point. So आपको I think this also is clear. Now the topic of solid angle is over and I will come back once again to Gauss law. Now suppose this is a closed surface and this is one charge q, and I am interested in finding the flux Now I am coming back to the flux of this through this surface. Let us say I want to find the flux created by this charge through this area. So what I will do is, I told you that flux, if I write a small flux d phi, and we'll write it as E dot ds. I told you the flux through any surface, we find flux through any surface as the dot product of electric field intensity and ds vector. Now once again, suppose I draw this as r and this area as ds. Now in this figure, almost you can see it is a symmetrical cone, almost. It's not exactly, but almost. More symmetrical cone is this. If I take like this, now this cone is more perfect, isn't it? So this cone is more perfect than this. Now suppose I expand this, then it becomes E into ds into cos theta. Now you have to take care what is ds. I told you in the class. So ds vector is, I told you, normal to this, that is in this direction. And E vector at this point, how will we write? So this is charge q. So electric field here would be radially outwards, that is in this direction. So this is the direction of electric field intensity and this is ds. So you can see that this angle between E vector and ds vector is not zero. There is some angle theta. This is some angle theta. So you can see that this electric field vector and area vector are making an angle theta. And that is what I have written here. So this cone that I showed you was almost a proper cone, but this cone that I have drawn over here, this cone, it is the perfect cone. The lower cone is perfect. The upper cone was slightly out of shape. So it was like this before, something, and then I drew this to make it a perfect cone, this one. So this cone is the perfect cone. Now the angle between electric field intensities ds is theta. So when I write flux, it becomes E into ds into cos theta. Now if this distance is r till this point, or the middle of this, so I can say that E is nothing but it is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square. We know it from electrostatics already. तो जिसको याद नहीं है, जाके फिर आप you go back and read electric field due to a point charge. So using this we get d phi equals to q upon 4 pi epsilon naught r square, and we are talking of vacuum, that okay, the free space. So q upon 4 pi epsilon naught r square into ds cos theta, and we will rearrange to write it like this: q upon 4 pi epsilon naught into ds cos theta upon r square. Now just look carefully. Now ds cos theta upon r square, I told you, is solid angle, but that angle was this. When I write solid angle here, then I take the angle between this surface and this surface. But here theta is the angle between this surface, that is this ds vector and E vector. Now what about this angle? So if you look carefully in this figure, this ds vector, if you look carefully, it was this ds vector, it was perpendicular to this area ds, to this area, and E is perpendicular to, electric field is perpendicular to this area. So whatever angle is there between this vector and this vector would also be this angle. Here I am using the property that if you know the angle between any two lines, then the angle between the perpendicular lines is also the same. So this ds is perpendicular to this and E is perpendicular to this. So whatever angle is there between them, that is theta. So the same would be the angle between this area and this area. So now our task is perfect, because in this figure, when we write a solid angle as ds cos theta upon r square, and theta is this angle and also this angle. So this theta is also the angle between this surface and this surface. So now I can easily write d phi as q upon 4 pi epsilon naught into this solid angle by definition, which is d omega. तो ये बहुत आसान काम हो गया आपका, q upon 4 pi epsilon naught into d omega. Now this is a small flux of the electric field through this surface. But suppose we are interested in finding the total flux through this whole of this surface, closed surface, by this charge. So what we will do is we will integrate this. This is the process of integration. So if you have a small quantity and you want to find the complete picture, then always integrate it. So if we integrate it, it becomes very simple, becomes q upon 4 pi epsilon naught into an integration of d omega. Now the question is, what is the integration of this solid angle throughout this closed surface? So if you go on integrating it, what happens is, if you start from here and you go on increasing these areas, so this, let us fix this line, and on integrating, let me go on adding these areas one after the other. So what I will get is, I will move from here, here and come back here. So I will get this complete solid angle. So the integration of this small solid angle is the complete solid angle subtended by the whole of this surface on at this point. And here I will ask you to borrow one result from what I am telling, that any closed surface at an internal point subtends an angle of 4 pi. Remember this closed surface at this point subtends a solid angle 4 pi. So if you want, you can write down that any closed surface at an internal point, remember, at an internal point subtends what angle? 4 pi solid. I am talking of solid angle. So the integration of d omega at this point by the whole of this surface comes when you go on adding these areas, and then the complete solid angle subtended by the whole of this surface, which is the integration of this is 4 pi. So what we get is simply q upon 4 pi epsilon naught into 4 pi, and 4 pi cancels, so we get a very simple result, that is q upon epsilon naught. I think this is almost visible here. This board is going out of frame, but if I just bend it, you can see that this is q upon 4 pi epsilon naught into 4 pi. 4 pi cancels here, so you can note down, and it is q upon epsilon naught. So this is going a little out of frame, but it is just q upon 4 pi epsilon naught. So you can now understand it. So this gives you the flux of this charge through this closed surface, which is nothing but, I will write the result now. So the flux of this charge through this closed surface is q upon epsilon naught. Now I will tell you another important thing, that a closed surface at an internal point subtends a solid angle 4 pi. But if there is an outside point O, this is an outside point, and somebody asks you what is the solid angle subtended by this whole surface at this point, outside point, so the answer is 0. See, at an inside point it is fine. At an inside point this surface is subtending angle. But if you look at this point and you see the solid angle subtended by this at this point, that is 0. The reason is, suppose you take these 2 points, now they are subtending some solid angle here, okay, at this point. If you take these 2 points, there is some solid angle. But if you start from here and you come back here, so all these 2 points are very close, so they will subtend almost no angle at this point. What I am saying is, if you take these 2 points, they will subtend some solid angle here. If you take these 2 points, they will subtend some solid angle here. But if you start here from here and come back, suppose you draw this line and you come back here and just come just back to this point, then these 2 points which are very close will not subtend any solid angle at an outside point. So you should remember another thing, that the solid angle subtended by a closed surface at an outside point is 0. Now I have seen that the flux because of the inside charge through this closed surface is q by epsilon naught. But suppose I am interested in finding the flux due to an outside charge q here through this surface. What will we do? Now we will use the same which we are doing. Now let us say again I write d phi integration closed through this closed surface. Now focusing on this charge, and that result was, if I repeat it, q upon 4 pi epsilon naught into d omega integration. This is what we got. You can just rewind and see. Then the charge was small q previously, now it's capital Q, and this angle is the angle subtended at this point by surface like this here. Let us say it can be this surface. So this will be the meaning of solid angle now. But when we integrate it, it means the integration through this closed surface. So if I find the solid angle subtended by the whole of this surface here, then just recall what I said just 1 minute back, that at an outside point the solid angle subtended by the whole of this surface is 0 here. So the integration of this is going to be 0, and therefore the total flux, the integration of this, that is the total flux, would be 0. So due to the outside charges, the flux of the electric field through this is going to be 0. So I have got two results. The first result is, because of an inside charge, the flux through this closed surface is q by epsilon naught, and because of the outside charge, the flux of the electric field through this closed surface is 0. Now what we do is, I rub this and next write the Gauss law and finally verify it for you. How? Now I said that when we write E dot ds, this is the left hand side of the Gauss equation, just understand properly, and I said that E is E net, so we should better write it as E net. Now if you have this closed surface and there are some charges q1, q2, and outside charges capital Q1, capital Q2, and so on here, then let us say the electric field because of this is E1, because of this is E2, because of this is E1 dash or E1 prime, because of this is E2 dash or E2 prime. So this will be expanded like this. We can break it like this: E1 dot ds plus E2 dot ds plus, if there is another charge q3, so then we will have E3 dot ds integration, and so on. Then we will take the outside charges and start with E1 prime. So we will say, so I am breaking E net into E1 vector plus E2 vector plus E3 vector plus E1 dash prime vector plus E2 dash prime vector plus E3 prime vector, and so on. So now we will write it like this, plus, now I am writing due to the outside charges, I am writing dash dash, which is prime, so on. Now very clearly you can see that all these terms with dash dash, let me write another term like E3 dash dot ds, all these terms will be 0. Why? Are you confused? No, don't be confused. See, why is it 0 is because E1 dash dot ds, the integration of this is the flux of this charge through this surface, which I proved to be 0. Similarly, the flux of this charge through this surface would be 0. So for outside, all outside charges, the contribution of the flux is 0. And I also told you, because of inside charges, for example, for this, the value of this, what will I write? I will write it as q1 upon epsilon naught. This I will write q2 upon epsilon naught. This I will write q3 upon epsilon naught. So on the left hand side I started with E net, but what happened? In the result on the right hand side, the flux of the electric field due to the outside charges turns out to be 0. And we are only left with this result, Q1 by epsilon naught plus Q2 by epsilon naught plus Q3, because this is the flux through this closed surface because of only the inside charges. So ultimately what happens is, this turns out to be what? This turns out to be what? E net dot ds through this closed surface would only be Q1 plus Q2 plus upon epsilon naught. We can simply write as Qin upon epsilon naught, and that proves our Gauss law. So this lecture is a bit long, but you should understand it. So although we take electric field due to all the charges outside and inside on the left hand side, result eventually on the right hand side only contains inside charges, because the contribution, that is the part of this which is coming from this, turns out to be 0. So we have not discriminated. We thought that let us take the intensity as resultant intensity at every point through all the charges. We were very secular and justified. But the result itself came like that. We were only left with Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 inside upon epsilon naught as the answer. Now to get a little intuitive feel of why this happens, so I also want to give you an intuitive feel. For example, suppose this is an inside charge, okay? So if this is an inside charge, then you can see that, suppose it is the electric field is like this because of this charge. You know that electric field is radially outwards for a point charge, something like this. So you can see there is a net outgoing flux. There is a net outgoing flux. इस चार्ज का एक नेट आउटगोइंग फ्लक्स. इट्स लाइक इफ यू हैव अ स्प्रिंकलर हियर, द वाटर विल बी गोइंग आउट थ्रू आउट दिस रूम. So you can say that this net flux of this charge through this closed surface as per Gauss law is Q upon epsilon naught. Now suppose I take another closed surface and I have a charge Q. So you can say that there is now again, because the field lines are like this, so you can say that there is some flux which is there inside. So why is it 0? But look carefully. Now suppose I extend this line further, what will happen? Just look here. So there is some flux which is entering through this point, but there is some flux which is also leaving through this point. There is some flux which is entering through this point, this area I mean to say, but some flux is leaving through this point. Similarly, there is some flux entering here and some flux which is leaving through this area. So for the outside charges, though there is an entering flux, there is also a leaving flux. But for this charge, there is only a leaving flux. So this entering flux contributions and leaving flux contributions, they cancel out each other. So whatever flux enters because of this charge through this, the same leaves out. So it's like if somebody is throwing some water here, which is going out of this board, suppose there is this boundary. So whatever water is coming out per unit time is also going out. So there is no net water going out through this because of an outside charge. That is why the contribution of flux for the outside charges turns out to be 0 through this closed surface, but for the inside charges is Q upon epsilon naught. So finally, just to finish it, let me again write that E net dot ds, and that means that at a point we will see the resultant electric field due to all charges inside and outside. But this resultant field, when we write as E1 plus E2 plus E3 because of inside, and E1 dash plus E2 dash plus E3 dash due to outside, we find that although we started with E net, on the right hand side the result is only Qin upon epsilon naught, and that is your Gauss law. So if you are not clear about anything, just rewind this video and see it multiple times. It's a very important video to illustrate the concept of solid angle and why Gauss law is the way that we study it. So thank you very much for now. So we'll continue with another topic in the next session.